she said, and I just couldn't believe it. Good afternoon,
yes.
good evening, good morning, wherever you might be in the world. It's the three of us at the minute. Here we are, and well, what a day it's been for NDAA disclaimers. Well, actually, first of all, let's go to the thing that people are more interested in first, and that's the DJI wording. It seems like I don't know. DJI have put up a post today saying, look, it doesn't say the words DJI in the NDAA, but it does say the word drones. It does say the word China quite a bit. So I'm not afraid. I don't quite share the confidence that that some folks have that it's all
the
over.
Difference between
and
being
blown
stabbed
past.
with a stiletto knife and being hit with a blunt instrument, isn't it?
I suppose, but I don't know. I'm not confident enough to predict what that wording means in there. Others are. I know they're Northside, but yeah, I'm not confident. I think it might be an even bigger
A broader sweeping
consequence.
brush.
Exactly. That's how do you, yes, exactly. It's very, very exactly. I don't know how you manage to have these excellent words so well, Bruce. That's exactly it. A broader sweeper brush. And to that end, and that's why I was trying to lead into that really. Oh, Randall, hello, my boy. How are you? I was just going to put up, look, we could, if NDAA is going to become a thing, we could have a made in India flight controller, flight stack. Of course, that's going to avoid anything ITAR wise.
And it has no drag and goes faster than the speed of light. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Or we could have an ARC 4-in-1 speed controller out of America. Or we could have. I've forgotten how much. It'll be too much. It'll
Thousands
be. I think
of dollars.
It's $30. It's like $30 or something.
Really?
Or we could have, yeah. But that was just a 4-in-1. That wasn't. There's your Rotor Riot machine, and that's $30. And I, of course, prepared as ever as I am. You can pick up quite a few F7 speed controllers straight out. Of course, that's NDAA. But straight out of China for $30 with a 4-in-1 speed controller. That's what I meant to say without having one in view, ready to show. Oops. So they're not cheap, really, but they're not expensive, I suppose. It's an open source design, running some open source flight stacks. So other than sourcing the parts in America, they've not done a huge deal there, have they? Really? No. So we're underwhelmed, aren't we? I think we can. Yeah. I think we could say we're underwhelmed, aren't we?
But at least the free West is safe again.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, is it enough to save Rotor Riots? I still don't think it's enough. I still don't think it's a big enough market with a good enough product for them to really make something of it. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, it was interesting to note their latest video got very few views. I'm wondering if it's part of this whole boycott thing. Where are my subscriptions? I stay in touch. They only had like 1,000 views in the first day or something. It was ridiculous. Oh, here we go. Right. They've had 5,600 views in one day. That's not very good. Yeah. So are people just not watching? Are they boycotting by not watching their videos, or was it a boring video? I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I just noticed that. Let me put that up. Let's see if I can be slick enough. That our friends at EHang, well, they're not our friends, like many people aren't our friends, are petitioning the FAA here. Do you want to explain that a little bit more, Ian? You've obviously read that, and I haven't, or whoever put this up.
Yeah, you want to have a look what's going on. There's a few things in here. Yeah, I just noticed this because some guy in the US had flagged this, I think, to some senator, basically saying, "Wait a minute, if we're doing the DJI thing and all that malarkey, shouldn't we look at EHang here as well? Because, well, as well as them being a Chinese drone company, they've got Chinese routers in there, obviously Wi-Fi. The brilliant bit when you get down to the diagram of the drone is here we have a drone show, And we've got the very well engineered thought of hot gluing fireworks to the drones and letting those off, because obviously there's nothing potentially that could go wrong
Well,
there.
what could possibly go wrong?
No. The FAA do not allow you to mix fireworks and drones. That will immediately strike them off their approved list.
So it's this one here, Gary, at the back. So it's saying here the to me, if this thing was intended for that, why are they just not? Because they're trying to make out this is kind of tried and tested. Well, if it's tried and tested, why didn't you do an update to the chassis?
The firework, there it is. There, the firework tubes are bonded by hot melted.
Yeah. So this just comes across as very DIY onto this drone. That's
I could have used zip ties.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's the pyrotechnics.
The previous Ghost drones were running RGPilot, so I very much suspect this is. When it talks about waypoint files being uploaded to it, which is how you'd be doing it with RGPilot.
Oh, there we are. There's your router problems. There they are.
Did they hot glue the passengers in their flying cars or what?
Yeah, it would seem cheaper than seats, wouldn't it?
I did tag the FAA and the head of the FAA and say, "Oh, while you're doing this, can you ask EHang to give you a dump of the software so you can compare it to RGPilot?"
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I think that's what you should be doing. Yeah. Saying, we'll let you fly it, but let's see your software. Make sure it's safe.
Yeah, absolutely. In the comments there, I'll have to address it because it'll be the elephant. What about the guy on the roof? Big rush from companies to sell counter UAS gear and drones to patrol that roof. But I say, what about ladders? What about cameras on poles? What about all sorts of other things?
What about just listening to the policeman that reported it?
and the crowd that were pointing. So yeah, I mean, it's
The good thing with that was, I mean, a lot of Americans won't know, but because I normally go to Twitter and that first with the news, because when something's happening live, often people are recording it on the phones and putting it out, and the news media will often want to verify it from several sources before they put it out. So usually it's ahead, but it wasn't with this. In fact, you just had the US channels just trying to guess anything and regurgitating stuff. And BBC did really well because they have a report that goes round to the rallies, each one. And normally, it's just a bit of a small report. It's all quite mundane, but obviously it wasn't this time. But all he was doing was letting people come up to him that were there, that had seen everything and give their witness accounts. And there was one guy, Greg Smith, brilliant. I mean, I saw it live as he was on air. And I thought, this dismantles it all, because he's like, no, I saw the guy on the roof and I told the police. And we were like, and he was like, this is like 2-3 minutes before we're going, he's up there, there he is. And pointing him out and then saying that they didn't stop Trump speaking or anything. They just, and as we all know, he was able to fire. But it does beg the question of, why wasn't there a police drone there? Why didn't they have an overview with thermal over the...
Too dangerous.
You could see somebody going up the ladder and then be on the roof. And
can't fly drones near people, mate. It's too dangerous.
Because I did reply back to like some of the BBC reports saying, look, this is Lincolnshire Police like 3-4 years ago, a Christmas market, in the UK in Lincolnshire. This is, it's like, it's the exact opposite of, a presidential candidate doing a rally.
But you've got to wonder.
As an event, it's you'd see it as a lot more trivial, yet, they had a view over there that commander could see it live and they can make decisions. And you're thinking, if we're doing that at a Christmas market in the UK donkeys years ago, how have you got a presidential candidate up there and you haven't got assets? I mean, obviously the US has the fancy military stuff even at that end, but it's like, why haven't you got anything that's looking at the roofs?
I'll tell you why. Because in the wake of the Ukraine situation, a drone flying near an event like that would cause mass hysteria. People would, oh, look, it's a drone. We're going to be killed. The narrative is working against them using drones for this actual application because people associate drones with threat, risk, violence. So if they ran their own drone, there could be a stampede of the people. They've just created this massive narrative, and now that they've lost control of it.
No, I mean,
David said it there. David said it in the comments. There's still too much paperwork, but for a high status thing, compared to the but also you got to remember a Lincolnshire Christmas market is a way more dangerous event. That's important to remember. But they could have had a big platform stood off 10 miles away at a high altitude that nobody would have seen. It doesn't have to be.
It has to be 30 miles, Gary. There's a TFR 30-mile radius. It has to be 30 miles away.
You're right.
I did just wonder, has the DJI, the attempts and the narrative around DJI played a part there that, in fact, no one would have been able to put up your Matrice or whatever, and then it's just like, because anything at the lower end, we're not flying that. It just didn't end up putting anything up.
Yeah, but the feds can't use DJI.
Let's really be honest here. Cameras on a crane would have done the job. There's no need to have flown anything. That's all weather, multiple hours, etc. There's to jump straight to drones as a first responder sort of a thing, or I know that's what we're supposed to champion and what we're supposed to be all about.
Can we remove the tinfoil hats?
Yeah. No.
And let's move on. Let's move on with something important.
Because Louis, all the US people in here watching, I think it's very important.
Yeah, it's important, but it's just too soon to evaluate. And come on,
you can't say it's too soon. The BBC
what's missing for us to discuss? No. What's missing for us to start discussing the flat Earths? Come on, everybody knows the Earth is flat. So let's stop the nonsense of discussing.
Yeah, everything would fall off your table, wouldn't it?
They should have done this. They should have done that. Come on. It's like England. England should have put 2 forward players instead of 1. Come on. After the game, everybody knows.
Absolutely.
After the game, yeah, you're right, Louis. I had a fantastic argument with one of the pupils at school today about the Earth being flat because I keep telling them it's flat. Yeah, within that. No. It's just it's funny. It's funny how you can wind people up about the flat Earth. So it's funny that's come to my attention twice today. You're right. It is a million conspiracies and a million failures, but it was mentioned in the comments. So it was going to be an elephant in the room. It was going to be an elephant in the room tonight. It was going to come our way. Oh, look out! Who was it? Louis going to go and get him.
No. And it's not an anti-American attitude. On the contrary, I think everybody needs to cool down and review the facts, all the facts carefully, and then take actions. But
there's no room
for it. Come on.
We can say it's a balls up. We can say it's a balls up all day long. It's a balls up. And then, in fact, you see the same thing as you see any balls up, which I'm now very keen. Well, I'm very used to seeing balls ups now. But you see, where you've got the partner agencies and they're all praising each other. That is always an immediate, it's a balls up, because everyone's bigging up everybody else so that they kind of distract you from the fact that, it was a balls up. And had that Greg Smith not spoken on the BBC, there's a very good chance they might have been able to pull that off of,
that BBC guy, it was so funny, man. He's got his shirts all ruffled up, and then he's lying on the ground, like, and there's people walking around. I'm thinking, what's going on? He's lying on the ground here, hiding from the bullets. There's just people walking around.
To be fair, though, he is blind, so he couldn't see the people walking about.
Okay. It must have been well after the event, I would have thought that they probably said, okay, now lie on the ground, and we'll make it look like it's really, really, you're under threat.
Isn't that the BBC reporter that is blind?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think a blind person, in case of a problem that he cannot see, obviously, the first thing he does is to throw himself on the ground. It's a normal human behavior for someone that has a disability like that. So I don't see the problem is getting the cameraman, which most likely is not blind, do have him shot that for dramatic effect. That's ridiculous. And more ridiculous is the coverage that some media did of the fact. But hey, it's way away from any drone thing that we might think of. And this
Cool
week,
well, okay.
Cool Cat makes a
Go on,
point.
Luke.
I thought grassy knolls were banned after the Kennedy assassination. Highly restricted anyway, weren't they? Only by license.
License grassy knolls. Oh dear, we are going to get into deep trouble here, aren't we? Here we are. But I know. All right, so we'll move on. But that was going to be definitely going to be the elephant in the room tonight.
oh God,
we'll move on to Louis.
Hey,
Mitchell, here we go. Louis' favorite. Louis' favorite. Here we go. There we go. Well done, Mitchell. You spotted it. This.
Hey, is that the police of the Duke and Duchess? Duke of Duchess of Success?
I don't know what you're talking about, Louis.
It shouldn't say there Montecito Police instead of Sussex Police. Oh, come on. You guys are so out of touch with the...
Yeah, I'm not up with the current royal stories. I'm very sorry, Louis. It's exactly. Not just over the head, but over the head at some speed. Well, this is... Ian, do you want to... Because this is Louis' favourite subject. So do you want to talk us through this?
Yeah, this is a brand new one. Out yesterday. This this is how, even now we're still getting additional insights into Gatwick. So now, what people didn't realize at the time, I mean, people in the police probably would have realized this, but us normal civilians and press and so on, there's a relationship between Sussex Police and the airport because they actually police the airport. So I think that in itself gives when you think about Gatwick, there's a bit of a conflict of interest there in that the airport funds, and if we can see here, to the tune of around about 30 million every year, money into Sussex Police for officers and for kit and so on. So if the airport have made a mistake, there is no way on this earth that Sussex Police is going to criticise the airport in public, because essentially the airport is a customer of the police, and also it's paying for officers and kit and so on. So you'd be criticising officers that are essentially being paid for by the airport. So this is actual costing starting from the contract prior to the drone and then afterwards. And there's an interesting thing here as well, is that the payments for the financial year immediately ending after the Gatwick drone incident and the following year are significantly higher than they are for the other years. And then you consider there's inflation and so on. These should be lower figures. So there's a question of what's been the additional expense here. Is it, additional staff now, counter drone equipment and so on? Has that been payments that have been made by the airport to the police to buy? So that's just a question mark over those. But one thing you can notice from the figures. But and then there's an additional thing as well that I didn't initially know. At this very same time, the British Transport Police were being lined up to take over the airport contracts. So Sussex Police would have been losing potentially the contract with the airport and every other police force with the airports, because they were going to do, it was a Tory government manifesto pledge to do a policing of national infrastructure. So that was all going to be shifted. So that's kind of fallen at the wayside. It didn't fall at the wayside because no one thought it was a good idea. In fact, they thought it'd be a good fit for the airports into the British Transport Police. It was just the fact of we'd changed the Tory government was squabbling, and we had one prime minister after another, and that just messed up any plans that anyone had. So that's the only reason this has kind of stalled. So with the new Labour government now, it might die altogether, or who knows, they might even continue to run with it. Because funnily enough, Labour was battering the Tories about it, saying, why didn't you get round to finishing this off? So I really don't know where that will end up. But I definitely want to kind of understand the figures better here for the 18 to 19 and 19 to 20. So I'll be putting a freedom of information in for that, just to delve into that a bit more. So, but yeah, it gives another angle here to think about.
It speaks to the different methods that are being used to hide the total cost for that Gatwick incident. And that, it cost us an extra set of sandwiches and a couple of night shifts for a couple of sergeants. No, it cost you a bit more than that. And if those of you that remember, the food, the catering was one of the biggest complaints by the Sussex police officers. So the extra 2 million in each of those might well have been better sandwiches. I can imagine that's probably what it was. But yeah, there's a lot of money hidden in this, in different places, and it has to be found. So well done on that. And I think you've mentioned to me, Ian, that they're speaking very, very nicely to you now. And you're getting
I mean, this has come back quite prompt, and the freedom of information before it, and it's dear Mr. Hudson, good morning, that kind of thing, in which I'm taking it back. Yes, it's nice to have that for a change.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, there we are, Louis. You can wake up again, Louis. Now it's we thought I've got to get your favourite subject in there. Got to.
No, come on. We are always chasing down the rabbit hole of Gatwick, and there are
it's a big hole.
Come on, and the more we dig, the more we want to go down the rabbit hole. So, and it's a never-ending hole. We'll never reach the end, because after all, people took decisions about what happened at the time, and nobody is going to know if it was decision A from person X or decision B from person Y. It's a combination of facts. It had
mistruths. Not all facts.
No, come on. It's the same thing that I said before. We are sculpting the issue in detail after the game. We were not there. We did not have to take the decisions, and people that were there took the decisions.
But that doesn't mean there isn't anything to delve into, because part of this, what we're peeling back, is getting the emails and seeing what the people were saying at the time. And when you've got people at the time saying this evidence isn't good, which, like the DFT, the comment on the Gatwick video.
End of the day, Ian, end of the day, someone took that decision.
Yeah.
Now we can say it was wrong. Yes, at the time, if you were there with the facts that you had in hand, what would you have done? That's the biggest issue. We are not in the middle of the situation. We don't know what the other person was feeling, what the other person knows. Come on, there are people, even today, with all the facts, with all the publicity of drones were good, drones are good, drones are not bad, drones drop bombs in Ukraine, etc., etc. People that don't know what a drone is and the good that the drone can be. And those peoples might be, at this very moment, in charge of critical systems and may take decisions based on what they know. Hey,
that's why we have to educate them through something like this. We'd make sure it doesn't happen again, is the key thing, by looking at why it happened in the first place.
Oh God! But we are going so down the rabbit hole.
But the
Louis, your drone.
We shouldn't have had to go down the rabbit hole. It should have been transparent, and this stuff should have been put out in the public domain. Like
if people
when it was a plastic bag.
No, listen. If people after the fact realize, hey, I didn't take the best decisions, they will naturally. It's a human thing. They will try to cover their tracks. It's a human thing. Come on, everybody did it at some point in time.
I think the concern with the Gatwick thing was the fact that you had Tingley that was there in charge of it, who was saying, "I don't think there was a drone," and like that, it was made to disappear. That's the thing that irks with that, in that it shows that there was knowledge even then that there probably wasn't a drone, and they got things wrong. And we shouldn't have that. Where I mean, the very thing is that our own College of Policing has said we shouldn't be covering up. They've actually specifically, the term for it now, duty of candor, and that might in fact even come into legislation of saying, if we've made a balls up, we must be transparent about it so we don't do it again. And that's really the thing. They should be doing that anyway. But while they're not doing it, it's fair game to try and peel away some of it with the freedom of information.
But that does not mean that we continue to delve here and in other places to go down.
Who else is going to? But who else is? No one else is doing it. No one else is doing it.
Ian is doing it. Ian is digging. Come on. We can see all the dirt in Ian's face because he has been digging as we speak. So
he's only 22. That's right. It's but in the other instance which we talked about, you suggested that we had to be calm, cool our heels until all the evidence was presented and things have been done. So is this not exactly the same? This is gathering the evidence, but somewhere. Well, I know exactly where in the ops log for Gatwick Airport. The SACO, the Duty Senior Air Traffic Control Officer, will have written on a piece of paper, we did this because of this. We closed the airport because of this. There will be a time, an exact time. They'll have the reasoning, but we'll never get to it because that is flipping behind the Official Secrets Act. But it's in a book. It's in a book. I guarantee it. And then it just would have taken somebody to say what didn't happen was when there was increasing evidence in the second and third days, there was nothing there. And there were lots of grown-ups to say, there's nothing here. That first mistake is fine, of course. And of course, I completely agree with you, Louis. If you're there having to make a decision, you've got to make a decision. It's all, left or right. It's binary.
We are discussing one issue. The problem is the economical but people impact that had. So, if it's something that you do wrong and I did it wrong, sorry. The thing is, if you do wrong, you cause hundreds or thousands of or millions of pounds of damage. You inconvenience thousands of people. You cause a national uproar based on a bad decision you take. Hey, it would be needed to have some big black balls to come up and say, sorry, I did it. I'm sorry for all the trouble and the expense I caused. Hey, it's human.
For sure it's human, but there's two factors at play, I think, two overarching factors. Factor number A being that compensation. If they, as soon as they said that, then that was all that passenger compensation. Now, for day one, that wouldn't have been so bad because Gatwick stops operating overnight and into the next morning. So if they'd gone, oh no, it wouldn't have got so big. But then they allowed it to run into that next day and then the following day. So that's where the money started racking up, and it would have been a sorry. So there's that part of it, and then the second part of it is Sussex Police wanted that contract back. They had to look. Well, this is alleged. All right, I have to go. What's the word I'm going to add in here? Allegedly, or something like that. But imagine, you want.
They're your customer, and you're not going to throw them under the bus. And you also want to look that you're giving.
You want the contract back. Yeah, you want the contract back, which, as that freedom of information request has demonstrated, was in the region of 10 to 13 million pounds a year. So you're not gonna chuck that away quickly, are you? So there was lots of stuff, and a just mix, a just culture, exactly, yes. But all around the world, everybody, all model aircraft and drone operators around the world have been affected by the Gatwick incident. It's been used as a hammer against us everywhere, right across the planet, and it's spoken of as fact. So we've got to, if we don't get upset about it, who else is going to get upset about it? Just saying, Louis, to be devil's advocate, we've got to be upset about it.
And I'm seeing that Ian has posted that the press would be much wiser. I tend to disagree with that, Ian.
No. I mean, there are a lot of journalists now that are switched on about it, because
they will put images of the drones attacking tanks in Ukraine,
Phantom.
mixed with reports from Gatwick terminal, with all the people upset because of the planes not flying, and then they will put some images of a drone with a grenade. Hey, they will do everything. They're not wiser.
I think what you would get some of the papers doing that still, Louis. You're banging about that, but I think the media now, the TV.
God. BBC? Oh, God.
There are journalists now.
Come on. Hey, Ian, I have a nice little bridge to sell you. It's fantastic. If you want, I have a bridge to sell you. It's in perfect shape, and I can get it for you cheap.
And here's a headline from the BBC. Drone was deliberately flown into glider. And then when you read the story, it says a drone was flown intentionally close. It's not deliberately into a glider. The media has still got this narrative going.
No, to be fair, the AAIB, as it reads, gives that impression, because what they're trying to say is that the drone didn't malfunction and go into it, i.e. the stick movements were deliberate.
No, deliberately flown into a glider is different to flying deliberately close to a glider.
It is, but...
And it's the reporter's job to investigate, not just copy the AIB report. That's what journalism is about, investigating, not just taking stuff verbatim. Gary doesn't just publish press releases as they roll off the
yes,
Gary.
Of course I do. The thing with that is, you're absolutely right. Guilty as charged, Your Honour. But I take this audience to be smart enough to read between the lines and all that. And that's why sometimes you'll find the most outrageous ones I deliberately post, because it's like, can you believe this? So, and it's best posted without comment. Go on, Ian, sorry.
Because that brings up another fire. In fact, let's bring it up now, because I think we did cover this briefly at the time, but everyone
we did.
We
did because I even reached out to the president of BGA, who told us all the complete details of that incident. So we were very, very aware, and surprised that I'm surprised it took quite so long to hit the mainstream. And
it wasn't just that. Youngsters, it was the fact that delving into it, it turns out this isn't the first impact between a drone and a manned vehicle. So if I put you in the private chat, Gary, the Freedom of Information.
I'm just loading it. I'm loading it now.
So this was a bit of a funny one. So the Air Accident Investigation Board let it be known.
I remember why we were talking about it now. I remember, yes.
So they said actually there's two we're looking at. So I thought two, and then it came out that actually there was a paramount, and this was interesting actually, because there was some wording with this. There was more than deliberate. Yeah, it was like they made out that the collision was done intentionally, but they didn't say whether the drone was intentionally flown into the paraglider or the paraglider intentionally flown into the drone, and we don't know who was operating the drone or anything about it. So the AAIB said, well, we've not pursued it, so we're not going to discuss it. But they said the CAA know about it, ask them. So this has gone to the CAA to ask them, so saying, was it a hobbyist, commercial operator, or was it an emergency services operator that's doing the drone? What's the drone involved? And will they give us a bit of a summary and let us explain about a bit of what this incident was? Because given it's the very first incident, it would be nice to know a little bit about it, to be fair.
I'm trying to find something else to talk about whilst I quickly try and find what we got. I think I can read out some of it.
Did you use kung fu against those thieves? How did you get your stuff back?
Oh yeah. But yeah, for the people that don't know, yeah, I had some metal thieves trying to pinch stuff out of my garden this week. So, and I went chasing after them, which is probably not always the wisest thing to do. But I thought if I don't do it, they'll be back again. So yeah.
Were they in wheelchairs? How did you catch them?
Well, they're in a cart with a load of stuff from all the houses, so they can only move so fast. But yeah, I was just verbally very loud, and that was enough for them to give me stuff back, because I was, as you would say, making a scene, so people were seeing what was going on, and they probably thought best hand it over before someone calls the police. So got it all back. But annoying that you have to do that these days. But I knew if I called the police, there was just nothing going to be done about it. So,
well, I take my hat off to you, sir. Everyone should protect their stuff.
Yeah,
I will just read this out because I don't know how I'm going to. I'm not going to show you the full post. But from the head of the British Gliding Association, yes, the vintage T21 was on final approach at London Gliding Club. That's Dunstable, just by Luton, when a recreational drone suddenly appeared directly in front. The pilots had little time to react. The drone bounced off the glider's high wing leading edge. You probably all saw it at Sedberg. It was a barge, a good old Air Connect glider. Flew those 40 years ago. There we are. The drone bounced off the glider's high wing leading edge just above the pilot said. The old glider approaches at 45 knots, so low energy. The drone was picked up and pictures it had taken were extracted before returning to the two kids involved. Police and the AAIB informed, and later CAA for their interest. To date, this is the second drone strike on a glider we're aware of. The first was a glider soaring along the coast in the Netherlands when a drone hit a winglet with some damage. So that was straight from the horse's mouth. And it's what does it speak to? Why were Ian and I talking about that? We were talking about that because
it needs to be noted that this data should be used to further refine the level of risk associated with these operations. And why are they covering up the deaths that happened in these incidents?
but the thing is, we get wind of stuff, we hear about stuff, so you start asking around, and you find it eventually. And
the reason we were asking them was we wanted to go public about it, knowing the AIB was still dilly-dallying with it. Right. You wanted to, but you don't want to go public with something without asking somebody's permission. And I don't think you ever got that. And that was the reason why it was sat on.
But we're also it's because we're aware that the AIB might be filtering other things. I think that was part of that conversation.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's because we'd heard that had happened. And he confirmed that had happened. And look, it came out in the BBC 4 days ago. It's taken a long time to filter out. And yeah, I can't say too much. It was all the youngsters flying were all legal and were known to people on the airfield. It wasn't they were stood there right, like yards away. They weren't 10 fields.
Did
away
they deliberately
like
fly
that.
it into the glider? Or was that BBC headline just bullshit? Just another part of the narrative?
They didn't. They just got it wrong. That's what they did.
It's a narrative. It makes more clicks if you have that sensationalist headline. That's why we cannot trust the media.
I think that the problem with it, though, is the way the AAIB worded it. Because I did look at that. I thought, well, no, I can't really argue it because of the way it's worded. You could come away with that impression. So,
but the news isn't about impressions; it's about facts and evidence.
You're not really.
It is about impressions, as ThinkFlight says. Clicks, impressions, all that sort of
I'm sorry.
Here we go.
We were discussing that Bruce just said that we cannot trust the media, and a couple of minutes ago, we have to make the media wiser. So that Gatwick does not happen. Hey,
I was going to say I can't say too much, but trust me, there are journalists that know, and there may even be something going out nationally that will prove that. But
come on,
man, you just maybe want to buy a used car from UE, and the way you said that, trust me. You haven't got an old
Well,
Cortina,
careful, lady owner. Look, there's a Bible in the back seat. Only used on a Sunday. All that sort of thing.
But yeah, I think a lot of the problem is you've got 2 problems. You've got the fact that the reports that go out from the AAIB, less so with the AAIB, but you've got the AAIB and you've got the air procs, and they go out and there isn't really any explanation around them. So they're not going, as we know, they're not going to the tech journalists for them to report on it. They're going to travel journalists that are normally reporting about people going off on holiday to Spain, or they're just going off to any random journalist that's there on the dates, seen as a low priority thing. So all they do is just verbatim print out what's there, and then they'll go, which scary person can we speak to that we've known will give us a scary quote about
You're
Joe?
using the word journalist very loosely. That's a very loose use of the word journalist.
Yeah. So, but
I don't think they really exist anymore. That's really
there's
a few, but not many.
Because you've got like Gareth Caulfield, you've got the other people that are at the register. And there will be people. There's a lot even within the BBC. But the trouble is, your BBC journalists that tend to know about technology get put onto technology shows. They don't get put onto the news editorial. So people are sat in the wrong places to give us a fair crack of the whip, as it were.
The experts are just a call away.
But I do find that the trouble is, if you're trying to put a story out to a journalist, you've just got to go that extra mile and to set some ground rules of saying, if this is being discussed, it's not to be clickbait. We're not to do blah, blah, blah. Absolutely spell it out. And if you do that, there are journalists that will say, yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, once you've called them out ahead of time, it's hard for them to go and, start running with it in a different direction. But the trouble is, a lot of people will just speak to a journalist and not really set down the ground rules or really understand where they're going with it.
I always start by saying, I could have died. That gets them interested.
Yeah. Just going back to Andrew's comment there, a public inquiry, post office style. I think perhaps this new government might be interested in opening up the Gatwick can of worms, but maybe it won't. Who knows? And Mitchell, about an agency, no, an agency hasn't published a full report as yet, have they? Nobody has. Nobody said.
No, I mean that's the whole problem, because that's what we were all waiting for. So there would have never been any of this FOIA stuff if someone had just been open and done that. That's all we wanted.
Again, and then mix all those 3 comments in alignment. They were excellent. They were all, that's exactly what it is. Just culture. I'm not sure it exists, but in reality.
Well, the thing that annoys me about this when we talk about the culture is that's misused. But if you want answers, it's we can't give you them because then people won't tell us things. It's like, but you won't be open about things either. It's just
need to know, Ian. It's a need to know basis.
Yes, that's the thing.
We don't need to know.
Confirm or deny and need to know and blah blah.
Come
blah.
on, you're too weak to face the issues of real life.
I'm just kidding.
And there we are.
Listen to grandfather Louis.
Yeah, you're too weak, Ian. You're just too weak. So right now, this is where we're going to learn Japanese quickly, is it, Louis? What did you see here?
No. This is a safety report from the Japanese aviation authority of an incident with a large agricultural drone. And there was injuries, and apparently
one of these
from the description of the accident that we could see. There's something weird here, but yeah, that stuff happens. Nobody knows for sure. This report with the overview that we can see, we don't know what happened.
Might be someone who watched some of those YouTube videos of trying to catch the drone and tip it upside down to
To stop it. Yeah.
Hey,
that'd be what it is.
I've done worst. Yeah. I've done worst because at least I had those big leather gloves, welder gloves that come up to here.
Gauntlets, they're called.
Yeah, to hold a big,
Did you throw them down?
octa. So, but yeah, things can happen.
Or you can throw a fish at it. Did you see that video where they threw a fish at it?
Yeah, that was fantastic. That was fantastic.
Counter UAS. The latest thing in counter UAS, herrings.
Herrings, absolutely. Well, of course, one of these has killed a farmer in Japan years ago.
Those things are lethal. Gee.
Yeah, so that it's not.
Especially if you're doing 3D.
It's not. Yeah,
wasn't it an RC pilot that was also killed by an RC helicopter?
Yeah, several have been. Several, yeah.
And come on, every time I fly my 700 Heli, I try to keep at least 30 meters from him when taking off and landing, because don't
forget that Siebel, whatever it was.
The Schneeball, and when that was allegedly spoofing, wasn't it, or jamming or spoofing, making it go through the cabin. Oh, but here, part of Mick's job. Just coach for transport. So we've got to get Mick on. Trouble is, he's always driving his car in Australia. He's in his Tesla on the way to fix F-18s or whatever he's on his way to fix now. I hear Just Culture banded about all the time, but does it really, really, really happen? Does the boss really, really, really allow that to happen in everything? I know it's supposed to. Let's try and make him type 1,000 words whilst he's driving, whilst he's in traffic. But we should have Mick on to talk about that. Yeah, it's everything's supposed to have Just Culture, isn't it? Really, all businesses and stuff like that. But it doesn't strike me that
as long as you're still inclusive.
Yeah, there you go.
And have the necessary diversity.
Quite so. That's the antennas. I was hoping Ian would join us. That's reminded me of these new goggles. They had a massive non-disclosure agreement on them.
Are we already going to the other Ian with the broken goggles?
No, he didn't get the
new ones.
He didn't get the new ones because he wouldn't sign the NDA.
Yeah.
But are we not seeing in all the reviews? They do look very exciting, but are we not seeing in all the review videos? These are the best thing ever.
Of course, they're fantastic. Yes. But are they really that exciting? Because I was almost going to do a video saying, "Where's the next big thing?" We haven't seen a next big thing for a long, long time now. Digital FPV was big. ELRS was pretty big, or that was gradual. But there's been nothing. There's been no watershed moment. No new generation of anything. It's like everything's incrementally improving, and the Walksnail goggles are just box goggles with a Walksnail receiver in them. I mean, that's not a big, because who did that? That's the original HD, was it Scout? They made the Scout goggles or something, I can't remember, but it's been done. Box goggles are old. Just adding a digital receiver doesn't do much. I'm waiting for something that's really going to shock everyone. They're going to go, I've got to have one of those. But nobody who's currently got a set of goggles is going to say, I've got to have a set of the Walksnail ones. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in the pace of evolution. Everyone's just building drones to blow up in Ukraine now.
Quite so. And Louis shares this important safety information with us.
Hey, look!
They used to do this with horses, didn't they?
Come on, look how things have changed in 10 years. 10 years ago, we were all excited. Oh God, this is fantastic! These helicopters are just fantastic. Look at it, all the power and things. Today, I don't know how these videos are still up on YouTube, because someone will come up and will try to post down these videos, because it's crazy.
Which is the one that's crashing? Wasn't there one crashing then?
Looked like one was. But this surely some aviation regulator somewhere is going to have a hissy fit when they saw that.
Oh God! 10 years ago, come on, nobody cares.
It's an ultralight. You could probably
It's
easily
two
get away with
ultralights.
that. Yeah, it's 2 ultralights.
It didn't work in Australia for the poor guy flying over the reservoir.
No,
On
but
his deck
that's
chair.
yes, yeah. You're right. Bunnings hot dogs or something, wasn't it?
I
Yes,
think even Casey Neistat had to go overseas to do his hanging on a drone thing, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he did. Oh, God, remember that name? He's long gone, isn't he? What
he's
could
still
go
around,
wrong?
apparently.
Yeah, I know, but he's not doing.
He's still making videos.
He's not as he was. What was I going to say? There was something else. Oh yeah, those goggles. Why have they not put external antenna ports on them?
Oh, they don't need to. Got some patches in there. I think they're designed more, I would say, for beginners and spectators rather than anyone serious. I don't like box goggles. I've got a lot of box goggles. The best ones I've got are the Cobra X, and they're much better than the earlier ones. But they're still just the whole thing of having that, not having a separate screen for each eye. You've still got to be cross-eyed, and that's just strain on your eyes over time because the focal distance is still quite low, even with mirrors. So your eyes are actually focusing on something really close, and it does get tiring pretty quickly, at least for me, because I'm old and I tire easily.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, but I thought their NDA was, Ian made valid points about that. I thought their NDA was very, very, very restrictive. And
DJI's is just as bad. Maybe they've just modeled themselves on DJI now.
Yeah, well, because Ian's never gonna get a thing to review for them again. That's not gonna happen. That's absolutely not gonna happen.
I think the trouble you've got with the review these days is that, a lot of the companies just want you to put out positive stuff, and you've also got the people that only want to put out negative stuff because I know it gets more clicks. So I guess as manufacturers, you've got a bit of a headache, haven't you? So yeah, you've got a real risk if you give something out without some boundaries set. So people either use an NDA or they just give it to some shill that they know will just say positive things about any old shit.
Yeah, that's why I've stepped back from reviews, because there are a lot of manufacturers who more or less demand a positive spin on the product if they're going to send it to you, and others that have these ridiculous NDAs. And there are now so many people who are what you call product showcase experts who pass themselves off as reviewers. That it's such a crowded market. I just don't really want to be associated, at least for the time being. I may go back into reviewing, but there are plenty of people doing stuff, and the water is so murky that even if you're doing the job properly, you get mixed in with all the others. And and as I say, there's nothing. Another drone. Look, this is another drone. Another radio. But where's the point of distinction? You're not doing anyone a service by promoting something new just because it's new. Most people are more than happy with what they've got. And if you don't come out being all effusive and promoty and whatever, then the manufacturers don't want to send you stuff because they were not looking for a reviewer, they're looking for a salesman.
I've got a niche for you, Bruce, that no one else is doing. eVTOL reviews. You might not last very long though.
Oh, God. I could be hung.
Of course, here we come. Paris is coming up, and that is a jobby. I can't remember who's going to be there. That's not going to be flying there.
Is it no, apparently I've been watching that because it's been really clear. Because first it made out there's going to be a few, and then it made out like there was going to be none. But the latest in the last few days, I said definitely one of them's doing it, which I think was Volocopter. Are they German? Because it was a German one.
Yeah, German. Yeah. But you've got to define. Remember when they first started talking about it, it was going to be moving athletes around Paris. Now,
some of that.
Only the high jump competitors.
Don't worry. Come on, they have to sleep in cardboard beds, so they will lose lots of weight. So the Volocopter can take them everywhere.
Oh, look, Glares, that would have been fun. Augustine Corby.
The last I read was they approved one of them, but there's certain conditions. They're only because of we know at the time a lot of the French and like the Green Party and that weren't happy because they say you're spinning this as being green, but it's not because the batteries, blah blah blah. Somebody in a car is doing less damage than you in your showing off in your eVTOL. So what they did was they agreed, but said you can only fly these hours. And they've put like a set maximum number of flights overall for the entire event, so you can't exceed that. So, but I think it was somewhere around about 700 or 800. which is still quite a lot, though. You know,
they haven't got a certified vehicle to fly over.
Well, yeah, well, that's the point, though, isn't it? But the interesting thing will be if they do it and there is an accident, it will be a very significant impact on the whole industry.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
Well, and then the vertical aerospace, is it? The lot from Bristol, they were going to fly at Farnborough in demonstrations next week. They're not going to. They've pulled out of flying in Farnborough.
I wish I could see those VTOLs flying to and from Gatwick. That would be the perfect solution.
Absolutely.
And from Gatwick.
Gatwick, yes. Yes. Well, it's too. Well, London, the centre of London's too far for all of them. That would actually be a fun. I need to do that as a video. It's too far away. They wouldn't. Current technology.
In Paris, couldn't they just fly over the river? Then, if they crashed, we could say, they're insane.
But that's it. There you go. Very good. Very good. He's taken off Rev B, take off from a barge on the Seine. Exactly. That's exactly. And it's what it's going to be. If there's a flight demo, it'll be on the Seine.
Yeah.
And that'll be that.
And the boat will have drifted away and it'll come down. The home point has been updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, talking about the eVTOL, one thing I really don't like about them, if you look at them on social media, this is from what I can see, is every company at the minute. They're treating like Twitter, which you now X and so on. They're just treating it all like it's an RSS feed. They're all firing out the stories, and not one of them will answer a question. Because if I see a boat,
like the FAA,
I'll go, like watch your software and I'll ask something, but I'll ask it related around the video they're doing, because they'll be saying, "Oh look, we're safe because we're doing this," and you try and elaborate on it all. You don't get reply back on any of. So my policy is anyone that doesn't reply, I don't retweet any of the stuff or anything, because it's like, well, if you won't treat social media for the purpose of what it's there, it's supposed to be a two-way thing. And to me, and that makes me uncomfortable as well, because what we've always seen, throughout the drone industry, is those people that aren't confident in the products and that are using hype above what they can deliver are always the ones that won't answer. And that's a good thing on this show. You get people where people, really don't know whether something's on the level or not. But at least when people come on here and you quiz them, you know that whatever your opinions are, they believe in what they're doing, or they believe there's a use case or business at the end of it. Whereas when people are just hiding, which they're all just hiding and just putting out their own press releases, then I don't know. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence in the industry. There's got to be a lot more two-way before I'm thinking you really know what you're doing.
Surely we just have to go to Dubai. It's like we've got jetpacks setting up fires in buildings. We've got cops on fires and flying around. We've got all the eVTOLs in the world going to Dubai.
That's the worst thing. That's always the case. It's always Dubai or Saudi, and it's like when it's almost an advert in itself that product, no one has enough confidence in it. You go into the places that would just
exactly right. Yes, it is. It's almost a badge of dishonor, isn't it, to have your product launched in those countries? If whatever it is, if it's launching there, it's like, whoa, watch out.
Hey, I think Rev B's onto something. I think the next thing will be AI eVTOLs, won't it? The ones with AI will be best.
Oh, you should have even said that,
bandwagon, isn't it?
Yes. Are you forgetting? Hey, Bruce, you're forgetting the blockchain activated.
Blockchain.
Well, that's no. You hold them down. That's how you captivate them before they fly. You hold them down with the blockchain, and then you release the blockchain.
The worst thing in this is EHang. I think it's up a European, essentially director or that level, and he was doing a talk. And he literally did say it is an AI product. So he's already said it. And I'm like, oh, whoa, mate.
It's true. It's true. Come on. No, come on. It's true because human intelligence won't fly on those things. I'm sure of it.
You're such a skeptic, Louis.
Oh, no. I've seen too much, almost as much as you, Bruce. Don't forget.
it's a murky old world, and I saw somebody claiming that Joby was worth more than I've forgotten the South American airline maker that they actually who makes Embraer. It's saying they're worth more than Embraer. It's like no, Embraer bought into them or whatever it was. So false facts, false figures. There we are. 20 seconds to go. What? I'm
going to say there was one thing with one of the eVTOLs. Well, wasn't it Joby that's done the helium thing, which I know Bruce again, whenever I talk to you got me worried because a lot of the industry seems to be pinning themselves on that, and it's like when I read about it now, he's saying it isn't a fuel, because there's all this process around it, and it just sounds all incredibly expensive. It just sounds like this is lunacy, and for me, it's more relevant because they're literally nearby within. I don't know, it's half a mile of that. They want to build one of the biggest helium production centres in the UK.
Hydrogen.
Yeah. It's easy to get funding because it's green.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. But it's like it kind of comes across that it actually isn't green.
No, it's not. No,
if it's half a mile away, then
green.
If it's half a mile away, then because hydrogen does its very best to get out of whatever you try and put it in.
The Houdini gas.
Is that what they call it?
No, that's what I call it.
That's what you call it. Okay, I didn't. Yeah, but I know in Cardington the airship sheds, not hangars. They're not hangars. They're sheds for airships. Near Bedford, the UK Fire Service did their test on a hydrogen car there, and enough hydrogen had leaked overnight in their test garage that they said there's no way we're ever going to let people have these on the road. There's no way.
Well, I mean, look at that Boeing Starliner. I mean, they've used helium, which is even a bigger molecule, and that's escaping. If the bloody space scientists can't keep it contained, how are a bunch of mechanical engineers going to do it?
Yeah.
Are you saying something about mechanical engineers?
Are you one, Louis?
He really does. Thank goodness we're all thousands of miles apart. He really does want to fight tonight, doesn't he? It was a good job we're not down the pub. We're down the pub with Louis. We're in trouble, aren't we, tonight? Oh, dear. Yeah, no,
this could be a pay-per-view.
It's actually, it's the last hurrah of the petrochemical industry, though, isn't it? Because a lot of their infrastructure works.
Are you sure?
That's why they're dead keen on it. Yeah, it's the last hurrah. I'm sure. Why am I not sure?
Have you seen the movement that Mercedes-Benz did these last few days? That they've moved the so-called leap to EVs, to alternative and better ICE engines?
You can't make better. The basic fundamentals. We're approaching theoretical maximums for efficiency. You can't cheat the laws of physics.
Can they do it? Yeah, can they do it?
Can't be done.
Yeah, but they're going after it.
Well, that's the end of them.
I'm going to say, at least all of you here.
That's the bottom line.
I'm going to say you've all got the benefit that I haven't got, because the UK is the test bed for it all now. We've gone complete green lunacy. So everything's going to be. So we've cancelled the North Sea oil drilling. I think the coal power station, I think that was going to open for doing steel. I think that's knocked on the head. So everything's going to be solar and wind, but there was. I don't think there's quite the appreciation that.
So you're going.
There's so much energy and so much mining and all that involved in creating the wind farms and the solar, and then you've got a lifespan of only 20 years. The trouble is, there's so many liars on both sides. You don't know, looking from the outside, who's telling the truth, because there's people saying I'm an expert on it, and over the lifetime you're going to be losing money because the panels, the batteries, and the wind turbines aren't going to last that long. You're going to be continually replacing them, and because you don't get continual energy. And then you've got the people that are obviously trying to flog that, going, "Oh no, you've exaggerated," and you just don't.
No, but you can only. at the end of the day, you can only burn a litre of diesel or petrol once. It takes a lot of transport to get it out of the North Sea, refined and into your economics. Economics will be the thing that will make. He's had 400,000 trouble-free kilometres with his electric car. It's economics.
If only
That's what
Stanley Meyer. If Stanley Meyer wasn't dead, we'd all be running our cars on water right now.
You've got to think about that. Though people talk about their EVs, but they're not saying, "Oh, I'm buying my EV," and it's tens of thousands of pounds. You know what people are paying for their Teslas is more than what a house costs in many cities here in the UK. So it's bonkers prices.
Oh, come on. You must live in the desert or somewhere, because where can you buy a house for £40,000?
Well, these aren't £40,000, are they? A lot of these EVs, your fancy ones, people going around with are £70,000 or more.
Yeah, but people spend $2 million on a hypercar.
A Model 3 goes around 40,000.
Cybertruck is. Give us your Tesla Cybertruck that all your people.
Come on,
yeah, but that's not a Cybertruck's not a.
Well, even
just a nonsense.
Hey,
that was a lot of money, and then it like dropped by £20,000, and then
get the Bugatti Negro or a Pagani Huayra. That's millions. You buy a Tesla Model 3 for 40,000.
Yeah.
4,000. That's half a house then. So you still
God, you live in a very rural area.
Oh, it's not rural. It's just north of England. It's cheaper. So,
hey, if you can get me a house for that price, I'm flying tomorrow to Gatwick to buy the house.
There's been flats over here that have gone for 5k. So, but not where places you want to live, mind you. But the point is, it's not like I've got a mate who's got like a channel where it's called Not 2K, and he literally goes out and buys all the cars from the £2,000 and gets them working. And you've got all that kind of thing. It's not like you can go up and pick up an EV cheap. You know, you've got people these days.
Not yet. You've got a huge installed market of. Yeah, it will come.
You'll never get down to cheap, because by the time the cheap, the battery's going to be buggered, and then you're going to be paying £20,000.
But no, you can. But remember, you can recycle the battery, and the batteries are.
You can sell that. Nobody's offering them at a cheap, affordable price.
You can't get them. You can't get them. There's such demand. They're in such demand. You can't get them easily. So
but the big thing is, like I see in California now, they've just cancelled all the solar installation subsidies because they've got too much solar generation. They've got too much solar in Australia. Many countries are finding they've got too much solar generation at peak hours of the day. If I had money to invest, I'd be investing in the development of energy storage. That's where the real money is going to be made, because we can put that energy aside when we're not using it and use it later. We don't need fusion reactors. We've got one, what is it, 93
8 minutes away.
Miles. 8 minutes away.
8 minutes away. Yeah.
We don't even have to keep the thing fueled. It runs forever. What we need to do is find ways to store the energy we're getting, and suddenly we don't need solar is the answer to everything, no matter where you are anywhere in the world. And when I say solar related, like wind and hydro as well. Hydro must be big in the UK right now. There's so much water around there, mate.
but you're exactly right. Storage is the thing. So there could be pumped storage water. It could be flipping great weight going down a mine on a string, drag it up when you've got too much energy. Roll it down.
Than that. What people fail to realize is they look at EVs in isolation. Oh, it's a way of driving around. No, it's a mobile battery. It's a way also of storing that off-peak energy and using it later. Because a lot of EVs now have the ability to feed power out into your house. So during the day, it's charged by the sun. You go home, you plug it into your house, it runs your lights and your cooking and your hot water. And then it becomes part of a distributed battery system that every country needs.
Come on, you don't need hot water. That's why do you need hot water? You just take a bath at room temperature water. Come on. I think that
home hygiene from Louis.
No, I think UK and other countries might fall on the same trap that Germany did. They shut down
starting a war.
No. Oh. They stopped the atomic plants, and now the French are. Oh God. Please, s'il vous plaît, arrête les usines nucléaires. And France is so happy that Germany stopped their power plants, their atomic power plants, and UK might go on the same.
We didn't invest like we should have done. We're well behind. We should have been putting more into nuclear. If we've done more into nuclear, that gives more confidence, because you can have that kind of as a backup, can't you? That's kind of
that's the buffer.
It's super expensive. It's super expensive.
Yeah. And it's got a huge carbon footprint. All that
yeah.
mining and refining and things. The carbon footprint of nuclear is
You're
not
pretending there's no carbon footprint for all the so-called green stuff. There is loads.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but it's just like there is a conventional car. And the carbon footprint for for your one liter of fuel or 1 gallon.
I think whatever we do, there's a big carbon footprint, and we're heading towards oblivion. That's a fact.
Let Gary put up this picture.
Hang on. There's a picture. I've got
I'll translate. I'll translate.
Oh wow! Then aren't we coming back to the journalist thing? We just got to trust you, Louis. You're going to trust that you're going to do it.
Okay. A couple of years ago, the government decided that the ferry boats crossing the Tagus River should be all electric, and now we come to the conclusion that the company that operates the ferries has to have diesel generators operating to charge the electric.
So it's a hybrid.
So
it's a hybrid.
Hey.
Yes.
Have fun.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We don't have electricity. If all cars would be electric, we don't have a worldwide production of electricity to charge them all. Period.
Yeah,
correct.
Oh God.
Solar. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you put solar on every green field on Hertz.
No, I put it on every roof.
Look at the amount of. But you look at the amount of the world's energy production that goes into the transport fleet. It's actually really, really small.
Exactly.
Gary and I are well informed.
Gary, how's your electric car doing today?
They are. Do you know what they enjoy here? Do you know what's holding them back here? They enjoy a 100% import tariff. That's what they enjoy.
Sensible, isn't it?
That's why we've got hardly any of them. And they are, as Ian was saying, they are super expensive. I don't perhaps see one in my future.
They're not super expensive. They're twice the
They are when you pay twice what they cost.
What an ice costs.
To be honest, though, they're still pretty pricey, because when you posted on the South African house prices, they were pretty reasonable as well. Lots of land.
Relative to earnings, absolutely. But then an ice car is massively. Our motors are very, very expensive.
Well, I think with ice cars, you've got such ranges, because you can buy really cheap or you can buy really expensive. But you can't
hear. You can't hear. Traditionally, during apartheid, there was big import duties on cars because of apartheid from overseas manufacturers, etc. And apartheid went away, and they forgot to remove all those extra. Mercedes going to make a fortune. There's Volkswagens here. Ford is here, and they make them for the rest of the world. But we still enjoy way over the
Everybody
odds.
just drives around in Buckies in South Africa, don't they? Just Buckies, because that's the thing everyone uses everywhere now.
Yeah.
The thing is also one thing about
Tesla Model 3. Go on, mate.
ICE vehicles were good about 20, 30 years ago, but now ICE vehicles are like, you can't fix them if you don't have all the gear in, and they're not designed to last. They're about plastic manifold parts and things. You look at any of the automotive channels on YouTube, and you got like BMWs after 12 years, they just fall apart because all the manifolds, the plasticizer dries out and they will crumble. And then you've got weirdo faults, and you need thousands of dollars of diagnostic gear, and the parts are so expensive. They're not designed to be maintained. They have a finite life. That's the end of them. So you can recycle some of the parts, but it's a major cost is the cost of renewal. An electric vehicle, in theory, replace the battery pack. There's nowhere else as much to wear out. And when you look at the Chinese manufacturing these things, they're now on parity with ICE vehicles. You get 10 years out of a battery pack. Well, you're really only getting, if you drive an ICE vehicle, 15 years out of a motor. But then you've got to replace the whole car with an EV. You just replace the...
I think it sounds like really with the ICE stuff is they've almost designed it to expire. Because
it's about servicing, isn't it?
They're really having a fun time out of it, getting your vintage stuff, your stuff from 60s, 70s, and whatever.
There's a big movement now to get these old vehicles from the 60s back because they're just so repairable and they just
forever. Yeah. Well, that's we've got our Bucky, a little 1400 Nissan Bucky, is exactly that. It's 40 years old. And I can, I look in and I can understand it. It's I can work out what's broken, and I don't have to have special tools to remove.
It doesn't have a check engine light.
No, it doesn't. You're right. Yeah, so
you can tell you want a vehicle with no check engine light, just the oil and the water.
I've never thought of that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's.
And then when the EMP goes off, you can still drive the damn thing because it's got Kettering ignition, points and capacitors.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. No, it's a thorny subject, but it will come down to things getting cheaper. Are we? Oh, I've got to be careful what I say. The internet's worked and the lights have stayed on tonight, but we're moving away now from our electricity woes here now, not because our national electricity provider has done a fantastic job of fixing everything and moving all on, but because so much of an industry, just about every single major shop, even the supermarket, little supermarket in our village has got a solar roof. It's self-sufficient because insurance had enough, and they weren't getting when the freezers went down, they weren't getting their claims paid. They said the insurers are just saying, nah, put solar in or put generators in. It's up to you. You can't trust it, and so it's the economics of it that are going to drive it. And then, as Bruce says, once you have that So I'm sure our little supermarket in town overproduces power most days here, and it's got nowhere to put that extra power. So that could be into hot water. It could be into a fleet of delivery vans, electric vehicles. Yeah, it could be whatever it goes into.
Over here we have a movement that is called neighborhood electricity, that you gather around some of the people that have solar panels on the roof, and they join as a community to share that electricity.
Yeah. You can invest in the battery if you need to.
But the problem is the cost of the batteries and the investment on the panels.
Yeah, so that'll change when EVs become part of your home energy network. It's in the garage at night. There's your battery. At the daytime, it's at work. It's parked under a
Bruce,
solar panels on the roof.
That's
and it's
only for the
charge.
first 12 months before it sets on fire and takes it out with it.
There are. Don't make me Google it. Don't make me Google it. The number of ICE cars that catch on fire.
You can't say that because there's so many more ICE cars on the road, and lots of them are old.
Come on,
Ian. You can't pull that rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah.
That's flat Earth theory.
That's flat, Ian.
No.
That's flat Earth theory. Come on, Ian.
You're not giving me that. When there's as many electric cars there, and we're seeing all the houses burning down and that, then we can discuss this with facts. In fact,
it's dystopian view of the future.
I was going to say,
that's why
can't win this argument until you're on this show for at least 8 weeks back to back without you losing electricity yourself. Because if it was all that easy,
but
you'd be proud all the time.
Yeah, but
why? Hey, hold on. Why are we worrying? Because Mitchell is asking if we are talking about drones.
Can't you hear the droning?
Yes, we are talking about drones because we won't have any cars. We will have self-driving cars, which are essentially drones, but on wheels. Don't worry.
And obviously by then they'll have propellers and they'll be eVTOLs anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing about the beauty of having an EV instead of a Powerwall is you can't wheel your blazing Powerwall out into the street. But if your car catches fire, you push it down the road.
I was going to say, on the batteries in my house, I'm getting rid of all my lipos. They're all going in the bin. I don't like lipos in the house. So
he's going to set fire to the bin truck. That's terrible. There's
pictures of rubbish trucks all over the world catching fire because people throw lipos in them.
I'm going to say, I'm not an EV hater at all. They're expensive. That's the issue. Everyone's trying to do with EVs is they're not just giving you a car, and that's why what Tesla were doing. They're going, we can't make enough money doing a car. We're going to have to sell you the full self-driving that doesn't work, and everyone's doing that. And you've got like BMW and that, and we'll charge you a subscription so you can put your seat heating on. Bollocks to all that. All people want is a car that's £20,000 or less. That's just a car. You just turn it on.
Is this guy living in UK?
BYD sells.
No. Is this guy living in UK because he has £50,000 houses, £20,000 EVs? Hey, what part of UK are you in?
I'm going to say that's the problem. You don't. But until you can do a cheap, until you can do
BYD Seagull. Is it the Seagull? What's the BYD Seagull is the cheapest one?
Yeah, how much worth of camera gear have you got, Ian?
How much did you pay for your last professional drone?
Well, the last drone I had was solo, so you can't really count that.
Come on!
That was a couple of
my
grand.
last solo, my solo cost me €100. So that's not an example.
But no, I'm sorry, they're just not affordable. That's why there isn't a degree of take up.
He's the man who's bought a house worth of camera gear. I think it depends on your priorities.
That's a bit of a low blow. But look, this BYD Seagull is $10,000. I don't know if they're coming
in China.
This is what I'm on about.
I don't know what they're coming to. Price EU. Then let's try the EU.
They've got tariffs in the EU now, haven't they?
21,500.
There you go. There's your $20,000 EV, Ian. There's your $20,000 brand new.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. If you're selling them at that, there will be take up. But at the moment, there isn't enough like that.
I'm sorry, Ian. You're wrong. You're wrong because you can buy that Dacia whatever, Dacia Spring or whatever. That is also an EV.
I want an Amy.
Or an Amy. So
I want one.
Yeah, and people don't take them.
Oh, you can probably get some small, really hideous things where driving around in it, people are staring at you and laughing.
No way to talk about our home.
The Dacia Spring. No, the Dacia Spring is a normal car, but it's electric.
So I'm just looking here while we're speaking. So I'm looking here.
That's the one for me. That is the one for me. I want one.
Kind of
Which
thing
way is it going? No one knows.
Quite happy to drive around, and you're looking at £22,000, £240 a month. Bish bash bosh. You're done. So that's what people will buy.
There's that new Renault electric thing, which is very nice, isn't it? There it is, the new Renault 5.
You really
that's coming. No, that's coming in at a quite reasonable price, I think.
Okay,
but there's lots of choice.
Look for Dacia Spring. Look for Dacia Spring.
Dacia Spring.
Buy a traditional
here on the
English brand.
EV channel.
Buy a traditional English brand. MG.
yes. Cheap and funky. Tell us how cheap and funky it is, please. Motor One. What is cheap?
20-something thousand.
But yeah, I mean, this. Yes, they are very, very expensive, etc., etc., etc. But it has to be the way it's coming. It has to be the way it's going. It has to be. That big nuclear fusion power station is 8 minutes away. from everybody, and the storage is key.
Low maintenance.
Low maintenance, exactly. And even if you want four-wheel drive, we'll put another 2 motors in. Super safe, yeah.
I was going to say, I wouldn't mind electric because I can work with that. I can be out there with soldering iron. When it comes to mechanics, I ain't got a clue.
Well, that Ford, but the Ford F-150 sold an awful lot of units at the Super Bowl because they demonstrated the bidirectional power supply, plugging it into your house, and people in Texas went nuts for them because the Texas grid falls over all the time. So that very idea of having so much storage, and then when you put that out to a countryside thing, then the national grid can say, "Oh, well, can we borrow a bit of power for you, 1% of battery for an hour or something, and we'll give it back to you twice free."
Because
I'm
charging my drones. I'm charging my drones.
Did you see the Cybertruck? It's got that thing too. You can plug all your welders and grinders in the back, but if you do so, it voids the warranty.
But but the Cybertruck is such a it's a nonsense. It's such an utter nonsense.
I know.
That it shouldn't get the airtime that it gets.
Elon invented
nonsense.
it.
So it must be good.
I like this. You see.
And who says
that?
It's like driving around in your kitchen or something.
Oh my God!
Who says EVs don't have range? That first Roadster's at Mars now.
We are so much off topic in the last 25 minutes.
This is the after show. We talked about drones for an hour. Now this is the after show that people normally don't get to see.
They don't normally get to see.
Oh yeah. Oh, is this for Patreons only or something like that? Is that
yeah. All you people owe us Patreon.
Yeah.
This was your free trial.
But it is yeah, it does speak a little bit to the industry though, because I know of drone trials on Lake Victoria where people have rocked up and eaten the entire island's power to charge their drone delivery thing. So now, power and electricity and where it's all coming, we can say it's part of our trade, really.
Here's a question. Would the world be a better place if it was run by engineers and scientists?
Yes.
I think so.
No.
We're the wrong people.
You're an engineer, you should know.
Yeah,
the thing is, and we missed the topic of the week regarding drones.
What?
The cell phone adapter for DJIs.
Yeah. Limitless FPV range, but you can't fly on visual line of sight.
Now we are going to get visual line of sight issues coming up.
Yeah, most countries don't allow LTE.
Yeah, you're not allowed to use it.
C2 links.
The Parrot and Afi AI already had that. It had a SIM.
And look how well that did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, that was a controller. That was a controller for that. If we're talking about box, that was the controller. Did for that the man bag they carried it around with.
Yeah,
if they put lots of rugged switches on it and made it grey and made it look military, they'd have sold lots more.
Yeah,
it was an LA pimp transmitter, wasn't it? It was a
exactly. No, we've managed to do 30 minutes. You did not do an RG pilot with a sim. Yes, you can, FX Note. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible, but it's not very legal in most places. That's
it's not the matter of no. Come on. There is no issue. There is no issue on the legality as long as you have it in line of sight.
No, there is. There would be in the UK. You can't use
the technical the network.
You can't use
that depends on your cell phone provider.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
it's CAA in this case. But anyway, it's
But you have a C2. You have a C2 link. It's never specified on any of the other regulations how the C2 link is done. So it could be via a cell phone tower or not. That's why Parrot did away with the cell phone, and it worked, by the way. that thing worked very, very, very good because as you know, the Wi-Fi connection was not perfect, and so it went back to cell connectivity very often.
And FX, no, just as an aside, I can confirm you can do it with Pilot because a friend of mine was flying somewhere near the equator, and he allowed me to dial into his machine. I could see the video, and you could have had full control over it. Well, in flight, not just visual line of sight, but actually over the equator. Over the hemisphere.
The world's flat. The world is flat. Remember?
Yeah. Oh, true. Yeah. Well, as I was explaining, this lad, I'm going to leave it on this, but this lad today said, but sir, when you go to the sea, you can see the clouds. You can see it looks like this. And I said, no, that's where it's all falling off. It's where the sun and the moon falls off every day, and it claws back every morning. It's where it all falls off. So it's
God, we are so out of topics.
Yeah, we're not.
When Louis says that, actually, no, when Ian says that, that's the end. Because Ian's always just before we go.
We've done 30 minutes. We've done 30 minutes of nonsense. I tried to end it on the hour. I tried to. So, dear viewer, I'm not going to give them a chance. I'm not going to give anyone the chance.
Ian thing. Can I do my Ian thing? And before we go, we have a deal for you.
Yeah,
come on, finish up.
Wherever you are in the world, we'll
there'll be no camera segment in today's stream.
No, no camera segment.
No camera.
Come back, dear loyal viewers. Come back with your notes next time on electric vehicles and EVs. I think the comments are generally erring towards the pro side of things in the side. But come back with your homework, and we'll have to convince Ian here. That's obviously.
But they might be younger than us, Gary, though, because what we should be thinking is actually we're probably not good. We're around for much more than 25 years, so let's just burn the hell out of that gas and have a nice, good, cheap time. And that's what I say.
You're just upset because your winter is so cold. Your summer, is so cold.
Summer,
Summer's that cold. The heating has been kicking in this month, so British Gas are just going to be doing like this. The money's going to be coming out of their ears.
Fantastic, dear viewer, wherever you're in the world, have a very, very and here, same here. Very, 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 very safe week. We'll see you all next week at 2100 Gin and Tonic. Cheers all. Take care of yourselves. Bye.